is in the house. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are kicking it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it, let's go. Yeah, let's go, let's get it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, yeah, come on, let's do it. Nothing better than kicking it with Auntie Leah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Auntie Leah is in the house. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are kicking it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it. Come on in. Come on in now. So Auntie Leah can do a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Salute, 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 salute. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Kicking It with Auntie Lee and the Truth Gang. I'm so glad that you decided to come kick it with us tonight. We are just going to wait on for some other people to come in. Can I ask you guys to like the live and share the live? For people to know that we are live. We got some important information that we want to release and talk about. We want to know the right now, we're just waiting on some other people to come in. So let's listen to the music.
Another family change. We march for the truth, but the pain remains. Different faces, same story, just a different name. We grew up here and freedom reigns, but freedom feels different when you're fighting for everything. Working 2 jobs, still can't pay the bills. While the wealthy get rich from the top of the hill.
We'll get started here shortly.
Turn on the news and what do we see? More division, more hatred, less unity. They tell us be patient, wait our turn. But how many generations gotta live and learn?
I get everybody to please share the live.
We've been knocked down, pushed aside, told to be silent when our people cry. But there's a fire that they can't control.
Just one more minute, we are waiting on some more people to come in.
My people, hold your head up high. Don't let this world convince you not to try.
Let everybody drop justice for Nolan Xavier in the comments.
We'll keep standing in the
about 30 more seconds and we'll get started.
They can build walls, they can close doors, but they can't stop what we're fighting for.
No matter what they try to do, we will not ever stop fighting.
Children growing up without a chance, caught in a system that won't advance. Schools underfunded, dreams put on hold, while promises fade and stories grow old. Mothers praying every night that the babies make it home alright. Fathers working till their hands are worn, trying to get their families a better morn. Still we rise when they expect us to fall. Still we answer when our people call. Still we love when they give us hate. Still we believe it's not too late. They tell us histories in the past, but the scars of yesterday still last. Red lines drawn through neighborhoods, broken promises dressed up as good. We watch dreams get pushed aside. Watch
Listen, we're just waiting on the
too
Truth Gang to come in. We got a few more seconds.
While the world keeps taking
and then we're going to watch
turns.
Dance Grace together, and we're going to talk about it.
They carry faith when hope was thin, and that's the reason we're still here.
Can I get everybody to like the live and share the live,
say they are kings and queens with purpose inside, born with dignity, born with pride. I see the pain, I see the tears.
Yes, it's so much pain and so much tears that go on in our community, and then there's so many trolls that don't understand what we got to go through on a daily basis. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody that decided to stop by and just to hang out with us for a couple of hours and discuss the injustices that are done to the African American community. We really appreciate you being here. We ask that everybody could please please hit the live. We just got about 5 more minutes before the video starts with Nancy Grace. And then we got some other clips that we want to view and some paperwork that we need to discuss and some lawsuits that are going around. So let's everybody get your pen and paper out. Get your questions together and let's just talk about Nolan Wells. And also let's talk about others that are experiencing this pain, like Kendrick Johnson and the Johnson's family who has not gotten justice in 13 years. We're not going to ever stop calling Kendrick's name. And like Carmela, who we believe, and if you don't agree with this is fine if you don't agree, okay? The only thing that I ask that you guys do is stay respectful. We can agree to disagree because we are adults. We got 144 people in here. Can I please get you all to please hit the like button so we can get started? We just got a few minutes before we get started. And let's do a little roll call. Right now, we got a lot of people in the back. We got like 341 people in the back. Shout out to the people that are in the bushes. And shout out to the people that are bold enough to be in the comments. The people in the bushes, we welcome you to join us in the comments. The Truth Gang is a family-oriented channel. We can agree to disagree as long as you stay respectful in the comments. So we're going to get ready to share the video, and I ask that you guys please share the live so that others can know that we are here, because you guys know that a part of Jag Nation, which is the parent of the Truth Gang, the parent channel of the Truth Gang, is that they suppress our lives. They do not want our information and truth to get out. So I do ask that you please share the live. So we just have a couple of more minutes before the video that I'm getting ready to show with Nancy Grace, the most recent update, starts. So like I said, we don't have many in the comments. We have Myrna. Thank you so much for being here, baby girl. I appreciate you being here. We have faithful Yo Mocha, my moderator, in the building. Thank you so much for being here, baby girl. And we have Nina Pina. I've never seen your name, but I'm sure you've been here before. Guys, if the connection on Facebook is not that good, I urge you, and I actually recommend you come join us on the YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel. So I hope everybody has had an amazing day. There's been a major article that came out with regards to Bart. Bart is the one who pulled, let me turn the music down, the boat when they made the phone call. The phone call that we heard all the commotion in the back. There's still a huge debate going on about that, about what's being said. I heard what I had heard, okay? So I won't allow anybody to deter me about what I think about what I heard. I heard Bart's name. I heard Wyatt's name. I heard Nolan's name. And I heard, is he dead? I heard a lot of things, okay? So, and there's also a fake AI version as well. But the one that we're talking about is the one that was actually enhanced by a professional engineer by the name of Jeanette Brantley. So that is the audio that we share. That is the one that I believe in as well. So welcome. It looks like Theo's in the building. Thank you so much, Theo. Theo's on Facebook. We just got about less than a minute before it starts. So if I can get everybody to please hit the like button for Auntie Leah. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. We got 591 in the building. We are getting ready to start the video now. So I'm going to take the comments off of the screen so you guys can really see it. Dueler, we can agree to disagree. And my name is Auntie Leah, and I am a lady. But if you don't want to hear what I have to say, and if you don't agree with what I have to say, please exit the channel.
Bombshell tonight. In the last 24 hours, Nolan Wells' family hits social media giants, subpoenaing Nolan's accounts. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
He was face down on the beach right at the water's edge.
If he was sent face down, that also doesn't make sense to me. If he's face down, wouldn't blood pool just by nature of gravity this way?
So right now we've got a lot of questions, but as the second doctor says, this is all still pending investigation.
If this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was I didn't talk to her once. Like, it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, none of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
That is from the Officer Tatum show. He has interviewed several of the young men that were on the boat when Nolan Wells was taken to Horn Island. They say he was not on the boat on the return trip, although audio seems to suggest otherwise. Listen to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources call.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir?
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
Particular phrases in that call, if it's to be believed, Nolan don't die. Sure, he's dead. Is he dead? Nolan, OMG, wake the F up. It goes on. I thought he was on the check his chest. That, if it's to be believed, suggests that Nolan was on that boat. Tatum says the witnesses are clear. He was not on the boat. Tonight, we learn in the last 24 hours, the Nolan Wells family hits social media giants with subpoenas for all information related to Nolan's phone. First, straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Then we will be joined by Brandon Tatum. Dave Mack, what's happening?
Right now, Nancy, the family of Nolan Wells has announced that they are going after, they have subpoenaed documents for Nolan Wells' phone. They've gone to the media giants like, TikTok, Instagram, the Meta companies, everybody that Nolan Wells used to push out videos of what he was doing and pictures. And they're they believe that some material was deleted from Nolan's phone. And this is what they're trying to prove with these subpoenas, to get all of the information, as well as, by the way, the location tracking app Life 360. So you got Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, and Life 360. All of this, the court documents already filed, Nancy.
Nolan Wells' family slapped subpoenas on multiple social media giants seeking his account information and data. This into the investigation of the teen college football player's mysterious death. They were issued in the last 24 hours, including Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, Life 360. And these are according to court documents demanding the companies turn over all materials, info related to Nolan's accounts. This includes current and prior usernames, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, even displayed names. They want IP addresses associated with every account, all communications, chats, posts, stories, and info. His cell phone has become a critical issue in the probe into Nolan's death. What happened to Nolan? Now, his mother, Christine, says when her son's phone was brought to the family, they had concerns because there were no pictures or videos on either of his Snapchat accounts. Triggering their fear, items may have been deleted. That's what's happening. There's been a lot of controversy. Were photos, were texts deleted? Were snaps deleted? We've been trying to figure it out, but we're seeing through a mirror darkly. We don't know. But according to experts, a trail will be left if anything has been deleted, even if you delete it from the deleted file. Now, joining us, special guest, Brandon Tatum. You know him well. He's a former police officer with Tucson PD. That's what impresses me. What impresses a lot of other people is he is the star of The Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us tonight. Question to you. You interviewed, as we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends. Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death. And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island. They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is consistent with, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason that there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day, like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything, not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception. But you're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat, and I didn't have great reception there. And I left my phone in the boat when I got into the water, and we were actually going out to do interviews.
Objection. You've been in court long enough to know you're going to get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but you wasn't going to upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes, but it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had 1 or 2 bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the CETO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question. I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
We just played that CETO call. It's 2 words, SEATOW, and it's kind of insurance that people have that are boat goers. And if you have a problem, CETO will come and tow you back to the mainland. They said they had a problem. They said they were taking on water. One of your takes is that all the chatter that we're hearing, wake up, Nolan, are you dead, Nolan, wake the F up, Nolan, could be referring to the battery, the bilge on the boat, that it's all unclear. Regarding the boat being disabled, apparently it was not. Listen.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
That from the real TikTok detective, the boat wasn't sinking. They told CETO it was sinking. What's the truth? Was it sinking and they repaired it? Did they have a leak and they repaired it and kept on SOP? Brandon Tatum joining us, former cop, now star of The Officer Tatum. Did the young man explain those travels we just identified?
Yeah, 100%. They did that. I wish that people on the internet would have had an opportunity, and they can go look at the interview that I did with Warren, but they had an opportunity to actually talk to these young men to get this in perspective, because some people have no idea how boats function and how they work. They explained to me, they took me on a boat and showed me exactly where they went, where they docked, where did they, stop at, how did they get the bilge pumped and the water out of the boat and all of the above. So they were sinking. They were taking on water. The water came up high enough that the batteries weren't working. They had to get a tow to kind of tow them out, where you can see the young lady saying about 3 miles out. It's a complicated boat's jargon, but they ended up getting the boat out. They ended up getting it to the point where they could run the water out of the boat through a hole in the boat that they ended up plugging. They explained all this. Anybody that does boating know exactly what they're talking about if you hear them explain it on the interview. So they have an explanation for all of these things. And not only that, Nancy, they showed me video of them on the boat, and Nolan was not on the boat. Nolan was not on the boat log. And there are people who saw Nolan on the island closer to around 6 p.m., which is far after they left, far after this phone call was made. I saw text messages from the young lady that Nolan was with, the young lady named Katie. I saw her text messages. In her text messages, she say that she heard the boys yelling for Nolan to get on the boat. He did not. She said in her text message that she did not see Nolan get on the boat he came on, which was Wyatt's boat, which is the boat that was sinking and they ended up leaving on. So it wasn't just a statement that they made on a podcast. They were actually showing me evidence to the contrary of what the mainstream YouTubers and some media outlets are putting out to people at large. And so I wish that people would go watch the interview or at least take some time to listen to these boys' statement. And I'll say this, Nancy, too. I wish that the family would have taken the time, or at least Benjamin Crump would have taken the time to reach out to the lawyers or reach out to these young boys to get their statements, so they're not wasting their time sending everybody on a rabbit trail when they could have just talked to these boys. And they could have, but they refused, because I saw a message from Warren where he called Nolan's mom twice. I've seen messages from Warren's stepmother, Ashley, where she sent Nolan's mom a text saying, please reach out to me whenever you're ready. I would like to talk. Other parents I saw messages from who reached out to Nolan's mom saying, we need to talk. Can we talk? I'm available if you need to talk to us. I do not understand at this point why Benjamin Crump would go out and put misinformation out online when he had the availability to talk to these kids and clear these things up like I did before he presented this to the public. We also reached out to Benjamin Crump 4 times. And on the 5th time, they come back and tell us that the family is not doing interviews. We didn't ask to talk to the family. We asked to talk to the attorney, Benjamin Crump. Why? So we can come together as a community and solve what happened to Nolan Wells, not create and stoke division, which is what I've seen
Mr.
from
Tatum,
Benjamin
that
Crump.
is exactly what we're trying to do. And I hear everything you're saying. And, I think like a prosecutor. My main goal is to find the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. And one thing I cannot get away from is the medical examiner. I'm trying to get to tonight's news, which I'm going to get to. But, you were seeing video from WLOX. Speaking of sinking, is at an alleged issue with the boat bilge. Well, Randy and Bunny on TikTok have their interpretation of that. Watch this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
That from Randy and Bunny on TikTok. Joe Scott Morgan, very quickly before I can get into why the family believes they need subpoenas to social media giants to get the truth about what happened to Nolan's phone. Anybody can say anything after the fact. Those boys may be innocent. They can look like choir boys, angels now, but I still don't know what happened on that boat. And I still see conflicts. Can they be reconciled? I hope so. But until they are, we're on it. This is what I can't get away from. Control room, please show Joseph Scott Morgan the autopsy diagram of the victim's occipital bone. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. I do not care if an archangel lands on this anchor desk. If he lies to me, I'm using handcuffs for his wrists and a rope for his wings. You hear me? Look at that again. Put it back up. He has deep reddening subcutaneously on the back of his head. Nowhere else. It's not on his neck. The back of his neck anyway. Don't see it on the back. Don't see it anywhere else on the body. So I really don't want to hear a lame explanation that it's lividity of the blood sinking to the back of the body. Number one, the body was on its face. But that said, they kept the neck and the lungs. Lungs to see if he drowned, neck. Why would they keep his neck? I can't get away from this, Joe Scott Morgan, and I don't care how angelic the friends appear, and they may be angels. I don't know that yet. You can't get away from this, Morgan.
No, you can't, and we can't get away from it until the investigation is concluded on the part of the state medical examiner's office and the authorities. And in Mississippi, and I can promise you this, as the day is long, they're not going to release this information because it's an ongoing investigation. I know everybody wants it. Now, what we do have is a second view. We've got a second set of eyes on this from a highly accomplished forensic pathologist, I might add, former chief medical examiner for DC. And he went over Nolan's body very, very thoroughly. And he in his statements relative to this area states that he cannot make heads or tails of it at this point in time because it's compromised, this area I'm referring to in the occipital area of the head, because it has been compromised through decomposition. Now, he did a multi-layered dissection. And what that means is layer by layer, the skin, sub-Q fat, down through the muscle, which had not previously been done in this manner, according to him. I don't even know if it's annotated in the state medical examiner's report because it hasn't been released yet. They're still waiting. It's pending multiple things. How many times have we heard this over the years? They're doing their own histological studies, which means the tissue samples. And also the big part to this, Nancy, is going to be the toxicology. And we know that takes some time. And it's not just going to be about alcohol. It's going to be everything in the spectrum.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here. If you are a homeowner, you
right
probably
now,
thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off?
A commercial. So while she's at commercial, I want to ask you guys, what do you think? What do you think about Officer Tatum? What do you think about the hired opposition or the paid opposition or the deflecting that he is doing? What do you guys think about that? It's like, in my opinion, that he was paid to deflect. He was paid not to answer certain questions. But one thing I really appreciate about what he said was he admitted that there indeed was reception for cell phones on the island. So again, the question is, why would Nolan leave his phone on a boat if he willingly decided to stay behind? That is the question. I don't believe he did. And it is what it is. Let's get back into it. Come on, Nancy.
Financing.net/Nancy. Disclaimer, NMLS 182334 NMLSconsumeraccess.org. APR for rates in the 5S start at 6.327% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 866-888-0344 for details about credit costs and terms. Go to http:// www.americanfinancing.net/Nancy. Average savings are based on borrowers who save over $199.99. And good luck. Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Good question.
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test. Why do you say that's
from what you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's what I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot to take the test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot to take the test. It's not a traditional lot to take test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lot to take the test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
Did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum. Hold on. In a nutshell, Joe Scott, there is a difference between a polygraph, which measures all sorts of body signals, your sweat, your breathing, your heart, your blood pressure, all sorts of things, and an audio verification test. Big difference.
Yeah. So the audio is, you're looking for stressors in the voice, and these people are highly trained that do this. And you know how the courts feel about these tests. Are they admissible or not? But I think that, going to Brandon's point, the fact that they have taken these, at least those named allegedly have taken these, according to him, I think that that's significant. Now, whether or not that this is going to be usable, a usable investigative tool, is hard to measure.
I didn't ask you if it's going to be used in court. That's a whole nother animal. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Okay, there may never even be a court case. First, I got to find out what happened to Nolan. Okay, so let's not put the cart before the horse. You've got eye detections tests. I don't put any stock in that as to whether somebody's lying. You've got nonverbal communication experts claiming they can tell. You've got brainwave analysis. You've got all sorts of things. I want a poly. I'm not saying they did anything or they didn't do anything. Go, strap up, take me a poly. Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. I've been told, but I can't verify, that the boat in question has been searched by scent dogs and cadaver dogs. Is that true?
I'm not familiar if that's true. Let me just clarify. The test that they took was a voice stress analysis test instead of what we call a traditional polygraph test. But I'm not familiar with the cadaver dog searching the boat. I wasn't informed that was the case. But I was told by the boys that they did not wash the boat off or do any of those things that they were accused of doing, after this incident.
Right.
And I say, based on all the things that I've heard, it appears that they've been very truthful with me. And law enforcement. They've already communicated with law enforcement very early on.
Okay. Officer Tatum, coming from you, I do give that credence because you were a Tucson PD. I've had people sit down, look me right in the face and lie, and they are so convincing. So I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know what happened, and that's why I really resent people suggesting the investigation be shut down. We're not doing that until we know what happened. Officer Tatum interviewed multiple of the young men on that boat. Now, let me address what's happened in the last hours. The family is not buying what they are saying, that nothing was deleted. They're not saying they're lying. They're not saying they're telling the truth. They have hit social media giants with subpoenas once and for all to get everything there is to get about Nolan Wells Digital. Okay, straight out to Dr. Jim Jones joining us out of Virginia. Jones, Dr. Jones, cybersecurity digital forensics expert, digital forensics program director, associate professor, George Mason University. Okay, can't argue with that. Okay, Dr. Jones, what will the evidence reveal? Let's just start on Nolan Wells's cell phone. Let's start with Snapchat.
Sure. So on his cell phone, any images taken for whatever app are going to be stored locally, at least temporarily. So Snap is one of those apps that deletes the picture afterwards. The key here is that when digital files are deleted, the data does not immediately go away. So the data is left intact, at least for fractions of a second, sometimes hours, days, weeks. So what they'll find, assuming that they have access to the unencrypted data on the phone, is they will find bits and pieces of old text messages, videos, pictures taken, and that might reveal something that they can timestamp to the event in question, yet the picture is not still in the active files. That would suggest a deletion.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Let me see, Jones. Dr. Jones, I'm just a trial lawyer. I need you to explain carefully what you just said. Let me ask you some pointed questions. Snap is different, very different. Hold on, doctor. Let me go to Tanya Jordan, Chief Parent Officer at Bark Parental Controls, author of Parenting in a Tech World. Snap is a whole nother can of worms. The other night, example, my son and I, John David, we both love Kung Fu. We're watching The Ultimate Ip Man, and I fell asleep. It was 2:00 in the morning. I woke up and I looked at him. He's furiously on his phone. And of course, that raises a red flag. Why is your son on the phone at 2 a.m.? I said, son, what are you doing? And he said, I'm responding to a snap. I'm like, let me see. Who's snapping you at 2:00 in the morning? It's some freaky dude in his underwear on the other side of the world. He went, gross, number one. And he said, they disappear. Okay. Snap. What is it?
Snap is an app that was developed to send disappearing nudes many, many years ago. So it's wild, and today now flock to that app, and parents allow it. Myself included. I regret letting my son have that app. So now fast forward to today, children think that this media disappears because that's the user interface presented to them. But the media does not disappear. Children sitting on either side of them can take a picture with their phone, and that data lives on Snap servers because, as we know, law enforcement has had a heck of a time subpoenaing them and getting access to it.
Okay, that's gibberish. So, does a snap disappear?
A snap appears to disappear to a user. So if I send a snap, and let's say, Nancy, you send me a snap. When I open it up, it disappears from my view. But that media, that photo, that video that you sent me, it is still alive in Snap's ownership.
Okay. So what that means to me as a trial lawyer is I can subpoena it and I can see it.
Yes.
Okay. That made perfect sense. Now I get it. So my son is telling the truth that it disappeared.
Yes.
To him.
To him.
But not to Snap. Okay. All right. What about WhatsApp? that doesn't disappear.
Correct. WhatsApp does not disappear, but WhatsApp is also purported to be encrypted. So Meta moved in a very big disappointment to anybody who cares about child safety to make WhatsApp end-to-end encrypted. So good luck to law enforcement trying to get anything that happened on that app.
To Dr. Jim Jones, digital forensics expert, associate professor, George Mason University, program director, on and on. Dr. Jones, I, like Nolan's mother, find it very unusual that Nolan, for a period of hours, there's nothing. He is a prolific snapper, Insta, you name it. There's nothing there. I got a problem, number one, of him separating himself from the phone. But no teen does that. Nobody does that. But if he's out in the water, he may leave it on the boat so it doesn't get damaged. But I find it hard to believe that he left the boat, leave with it and his keys, and that he wasn't taking pictures and on the boat, on the way out there. Where's all that? That's human behavior, which is not your forte. But Dr. Jones, explain to me what these subpoenas mean. Dr. Jones, from what we are learning in the last 24 hours, Nolan's family demands all IP addresses associated with his accounts, all communications, chats, posts, stories. You can explain later to Tanya what is a story, and all other information. The phone is critical because there's nothing on it for the critical hours. Subpoenas issued in the last hours to Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta, all Meta platforms, and all location tracking platforms, including Life 360. Okay, doctor, what does it mean?
So what they're trying to do is find everything that was pushed up to the servers. And as Tatiana pointed out, some of this content is encrypted as it goes through the servers. So they won't be able to see the content on the server, but they'll have a record that an image or a video or a message came through. So what I would be looking at is I would compare what the providers, the servers show to what's on the phone. And if I find a discrepancy, that would suggest that something has been deleted from the phone. Anybody that had access to the phone could easily delete something on the phone, much harder to delete what's being held on the servers from the phone.
I assume his phone had a password. There are certain things that you need the password to do, such as delete activity. But if you don't have a password and you pick up your phone, if you're touching the screen, that leaves a trace. If you're trying to power it off, that leaves a trace. So we should be able to see people without a password trying to actively interact with that phone, as well as someone that has it. So we would do a forensic acquisition, and that's really important here. Someone just looking in the phone, you can get a glimpse, but you can't see what's deleted and hiding below the surface. We need a forensic acquisition to do that. We can tell if it was just soft deleted, so like sitting in a trash can, or a hard delete. So if you empty your trash on your phone and then you go and throw it into a dumpster and the trash is taken away, there is a log that tracks everything. Also with timestamps on when that activity occurred.
Digital expert Heather Barnhart. Okay, is a subpoena, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jim Jones, is a subpoena the equivalent of an acquisition, a forensics digital acquisition?
Yeah, good question. No, very different. So the subpoena is going to the providers, the companies that provide these services, and it says, hey, what is on your servers? The physical acquisition is going to get a copy of the raw data stored on the phone. And to Heather's point, what you see through the interface is only a small fraction of what's actually stored on the device. It's a very busy place and things are being replaced and removed all the time. The physical acquisition will take a snapshot in time of anything that's left, in particular, the fragments. She also made a very good point about the logs. Phones, modern smartphones, keep very detailed logs. It's not the picture, but it will tell you that someone deleted a picture, and you may even have a timestamp or other metadata that would help you know something about that content, even if you can't see the content anymore.
So, Dr. Jim Jones, if I delete something, let's just pretend it's a text. We delete a text. Then you go to the deleted file and delete it from the deleted file. We can't see it, but there is a record of that, and it is very likely revivable.
Yes, to the record, for sure. There's a record of that action happening. Revivability depends on how long it's been since it was deleted and what else the phone has been doing. So it's a very unpredictable process. Think of it as something that decays over time. Sometimes that decay is very rapid, sometimes it's slow.
And we know there's a difference in retrieval time on an iPhone versus an Android. It's a very delicate process. John Mobley, veteran trial lawyer, South Carolina. What is it Nolan's mother wants from social media giants?
Everything. That's what they want. And I've been saying this from the beginning. These are the types of things they should have been doing from the beginning. Not press conferences, not grandstanding, not the all show no go, but getting the actual data from the phone so they can get real answers to put all the information regarding what happened in context. They will know if anything was posted, if anything was deleted, if it was communicating with someone. This is the real work that needs to be done. This is how we all get answers.
Hi, guys. Back to you, Dr. Jim Jones. Will these records reveal whether Nolan Wells had reception on Horn Island or on the way there?
They could, based on timestamps of things that got pushed to the server, that would say he did have service. The absence of those records doesn't say that he didn't have service. However, the cell phone provider through the tower records could show that, because every time a cell phone talks to a tower, a record is created.
Excellent. The ping trail. Okay, back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Did the young men you interviewed, I believe it was 4 of them, state that Nolan did not have reception, or did they explain why there are no pictures, texts, instas, nothing on his phone? Did they have an explanation for that?
Yes, ma'am. They didn't mention anything about whether Nolan had service or not, but they articulated the reason why Nolan may not have, certain pictures on his phone. And they had mentioned because Nolan spent the night at their house the night before, because it's traditional for the last few years that they actually went to Horn Island together. But they were saying that they had taken pictures at the house. Some of the pictures that you've seen floating around online were pictures that they took on the boat, but they didn't take those pictures when they got out there to Horn Island, because they were having fun. And I would argue that they were drinking, and I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera. So what they had articulated to me, that it wasn't abnormal for people not to snap and not to do a lot of pictures and things like that, because they were focused on
But you
being
told me
off of the
they
mainland.
showed you pictures and videos.
Yeah,
so
but
they
it's
did
not
take
uploaded.
pictures and videos.
No. It's not a lot of pictures, and they weren't uploaded. So when you're talking about Snapchat, you're talking about a platform where people are uploading images and pictures to produce to the world. What they showed me were things that they had recorded on their phone, and it wasn't a lot of different things, because most of what they did was drinking and having fun in the water. And so, what they had articulated to me as well is that it's not abnormal for people not to snap. It's not abnormal for you not to have your phone. And Nolan wasn't the only person that left his phone on the boat. They also mentioned to me, and you can see it in the interview that they did, was that they had no reason to touch Nolan's phone. They weren't thinking about Nolan's phone when they thought the boat was sinking. And when they got to the house, it was no incident when it comes to Nolan getting the phone back to the friend and parent.
You're going far afield from my question. Let me redirect you back to their phones. Nolan has nothing on his phone. They have pictures and videos on their phones. You told me that they exist, whether they posted them or not. So they were taking pictures and videos. Don't you see why the mom, Nolan's mom, is concerned there's nothing on her son's phone?
Well, Nancy, it's unclear exactly what the mother is articulating, because at one point she's concerned that there's not a lot of Snapchats or social media posting. She did not articulate, or the Benjamin Crumb did not mention that there's nothing on his phone. So they're not saying that the phone was wiped and there's no images or anything. She was concerned about his social media frequency, which I believe after talking to the boys, it was consistent with what they said, and it was consistent with basic deductive reasoning that maybe he didn't post a lot on that day. So what remains a focus for me, and if I was investigating this
Not
case,
talking about
I
posting.
would want to know.
Not talking about whether he posted, officer.
No,
He didn't
what
even
I'm saying
take
is
anything.
that
There's no pictures. There's no anything.
That's what the mom is saying, but we haven't had an opportunity to either see or hear exactly what she's trying to articulate. Some of the things that she said in the media is that she's talking about posting. I don't believe she said that there was nothing at all on his phone, no pictures, no nothing. But I wasn't able to verify that. So if I was able to see Nolan's phone and the mother was able to show me exactly what she's articulating, I'll be able to have a better perspective in comparison to what Warren and the other boys were telling me. So at this point, I only have one side of it, and then I have a fractured perception from what the media or what the mother is saying in the media. So when the police officers look at his phone and they do a forensic extraction, if they're allowed to do that, they will see plainly if Nolan was on his phone, if he had taken pictures, and if they were deleted. Now, I'll implement this as we begin to try to guess and figure out what was happening on that day. It doesn't seem to be reasonable to suggest that the boys were in his phone deleting things. Now, after hanging out with the boys and getting to know them well, they're very intelligent young men, very savvy, and they were raised well. I would project, if I were to make an assumption, that if they were trying to cover up something that happened to Nolan, I would perceive that they would throw the phone in the water or something where it never would be recovered. Or if they had access to get into the phone, they wouldn't just delete, they would just completely rewrite the phone or, do a hard reset. Or they wouldn't give the phone back to mama or the family anyway. So with those factors put in place and what I've talked to them about, it seems as if their story seems consistent to me, that they did not get in the phone. They did not know his password. They had no reason to believe that there was a necessity to get in the phone,
officer,
and they gave it over to the
I'm not saying
family.
you're wrong. I'm saying I'm not taking anybody's word for anything until I investigate it and corroborate it. Again,
that's fair.
Maybe they're completely innocent. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Or maybe someone else had something to do with Nolan's death. I don't know, but I will find out. And you said, I don't know what she said exactly. Well, here is what Nolan's mother said.
When we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed. Hey, Ma, come on, take a picture of me. That was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts.
Okay, to Tanya Jordan, Bark parental control officer and author, do you understand what she just said? I do. Explain it.
Absolutely. When a child dies, every second, every hour, every day matters. Families and investigators need timely access to lawfully requested evidence so they can find answers and hold the right people accountable. And Snapchat claims to respond to most legal requests in 2 to 3 weeks, but critics say some investigations have taken months, which delays justice. Meta, Instagram, right? There aren't many kids on Facebook these days. There's no public average for subpoena response times, but it varies. It varies. And investigators have criticized delays in some really high-profile child safety and teen death cases. WhatsApp, we talked about that earlier. Even with a warrant, Meta generally cannot read or produce message content because it doesn't have it. That's what we were talking about with the challenges with encryption. It's not a response time thing, it's the encryption. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I just felt it was really important to be very clear about what we need for justice and what social media companies are not providing in a timely manner.
You're very clear. I want Tatum to be right. I want this to be easily explainable when we know all the facts. But we will not stop until we know the facts. If you know or think you know anything regarding Nolan's case, please dial 228-769-3063. If only I could put a keg of dynamite under the social media giant's rear end and get those answers now, I would. There is a $125,000 reward for information leading to the truth of what happened to Nolan. We remember American hero trooper Micah May.
All right, guys.
Nevada
So that is the end of Nancy's shows. Now, there are some other clips that I want to get into that are very, very interesting. I apologize for the delay in the break of the silence. I was actually speaking during her commercial and you guys didn't hear me. But what do you all think? Let's read some comments. What do you all think about what we just heard? So R. Jeffrey says, isn't this woman the woman who says she looked into the eyes of the groom and that he was a killer and that he killed his bride and then turned it out she was still alive and she left on her own? I'm not sure what you're speaking of. R. Jeffrey also said she called a man a killer and she never apologized. Are you speaking of Nancy? Gabby says, I don't like how she said that. F Tatum. You know what? It is F Tatum all day long. Nikki says we want the truth, not for Tatum to be right. Absolutely. Almighty says the damn audio is the facts. Hello. Yes, and we do have some super chats, so let's go ahead and read those off as well. Everybody who has blessed the channel, I want you to know that we do appreciate you. We thank you. We love you. I don't know. If God puts on your heart to bless the channel, please do. But only if God puts on your heart. And that's just how I roll. I'm not going to ask you for a super chat to read your comment. But I can't find Faith's comment. So I'll just read it to you guys. It says he's covering something up. Check him out. He knows the real story because he is very close to them, as if he is dating one of the friends, family members, or something. And they deleted all pics. I agree 1000%. Something is not right. Now, guys, we will get into some more clips here. I just wanted to stop to say that I appreciate everybody that has blessed the channel. We want to thank you, Aaron, for your 1,000 jewels. We appreciate you, baby. Thank you so much. We have the Real Red Diamonds. Bish, thank you so much for blessing the channel. And there's Faith's comment right there. I did already read her comment. Thank you so much for blessing the channel. Now, I want to get into, let's see. John Lemon did an amazing show today. He had some people on to talk about what's been going on, the disparaging of Mrs. Wonsley's business. There's also a very prominent social media personality that is being sued by Bart's family as well. We want to go ahead and watch what he is talking about. Let's get into that as well. Okay, let's go.
It's going to have to do with some of the findings, some of what they have found in the investigation, and perhaps we'll get a little bit more insight on the investigation. And I'm sure there will be reporters there asking questions about the lawsuits that the mother has threatened to file against officials, and also folks who may have something to do with the death of her son. So we'll see about that, and also about opening up his estate so that she can be able to handle things and perhaps seek some sort of legal recourse. For what? I don't know. We talked to an attorney. Attorney said there's no one to sue yet. If you scroll down a little bit, it says Attorney Ben Crump to share case updates on the death of Nolan Wells and 2 similar cases at the National Urban League. Nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump will join the families of Nolan Xavier Wells, Daniel Irving, and Tyler Smith at the National Urban League's annual conference on Thursday. Crump will provide updates on all 3 cases, to be joined by Mark Morial, who is the president and CEO of the National Urban League, who will voice the league's support of the family's pursuit of answers. This is a thing. So there are 3 different cases that they're talking about. Here's an overview of the case and disputed circumstances. All 3 young men were 18-year-old Black men who died within 3 months of each other. In each case, the families dispute or are still awaiting the official account of how their son died. And so that is the information from Benjamin Crump. And another note, thank you, Andy, and we'll keep you updated on that. If we get more information within this stream, we'll bring it to you. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm in news mode today. I've just broken to my cable news mode, where you just have to ad lib and go off the top of your head, meaning no prompter, no nothing, not that we usually do. So this has been a very interesting case, especially as far as public interest and where people are not getting information. I'm glad that Ben Crump is updating tomorrow. I hope that his information that he updates us with will be substantial and enough to knock down some of the questions and some of the fakeness. It's very important. And you guys have been really, really great lately with engagement and hitting the thumbs up button. So have you hit it? Have you hit the thumbs up button? If you haven't, please do it. Okay. And let me know where you're streaming from. I told you I am in New York. I'm not sure where you guys are, but I am in New York. Hello from Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Jacksonville. Hello, Chicago. Welcome to the program, everyone. Hello, Colorado and Baltimore. Okay. So let's discuss what's going on. Several breaking news stories on this front. The first one I will tell you about is when we say there's an update. There is a major update. We have received word from Benjamin Crump's office, and let's put it up. It says it's going to be a major update tomorrow. Attorney Benjamin Crump to share case updates in the death of Nolan Wells. And then he says there are 2 similar cases at the National Urban League Conference. So the Urban League Conference is tomorrow, and that announcement will be on the update on this case. We'll see what it is. I'm sure it has to do with the autopsy. It's going to have to do with some of the findings, some of what they have found in the investigation, and perhaps we'll get a little bit more insight on the investigation. And I'm sure there will be reporters there asking questions about the lawsuits that the mother has threatened to file against officials, and also folks who may have something to do with the death of her son. So we'll see about that, and also about opening up his estate so that she can be able to handle things and perhaps seek some sort of legal recourse. For what? I don't know. We talked to an attorney. Attorney said there's no one to sue yet. If you scroll down,
quick, I wanted to get through.
Crump will provide
So yes,
updates
we
on
get
all 3
that.
cases from Urban League, who will voice the league's support.
We get that Crump's going to update us tomorrow. We really appreciate that. But I wanted to get to the specialist that's on the show.
Ad lib and go off the off the top of your head, meaning no prompter, no nothing, not that we usually do. So this has been a very interesting case, especially as far as public interest and where people are not getting information. I'm glad that Ben Crump is updating tomorrow. I hope that his information that he updates us with will be substantial and enough to knock down some of the questions and some of the fakeness, some of the conspiracy theories, some of the AI and the photoshopping and the just making up things. So hopefully he'll do something to help that, because I don't think investigators are doing themselves any favors by not having a regular cadence of updating information. Let's bring in our Washington, D.C. correspondent, Daniel Grimes. Daniel, with a story about a young man who is being accused of things now that may not necessarily be true. His family and his attorneys are saying not true. They are threatening legal action.
He is speaking of Bart, the guy that was on the second boat, the boat that pulled Wyatt's boat. So there's been a lot of speculation going around on the internet about Bart. I even have an opinion about Bart, and I'll tell you about that after we watch this. So let's keep going. Let's go, Truth Gang.
Daniel.
Don, before I even get there, I mean, the point you just made that there is a dearth of knowledge. I spent the entire day on Capitol Hill trying to talk to lawmakers. I talked to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, Democrats, Republicans, Tom Cotton, Elizabeth Warren. I mean, a lot of senators, and none of them had any information about this case. Cindy Hyde-Smith, she's the senator from Mississippi, just told me she's the only one that had any information about this case. A lot of senators said, oh, I don't really know. I don't know enough to comment. Or if they did comment, they said, oh, you know, it's sad that a young man lost his life. That's all I really know. Cindy Hyde-Smith is the senator from Mississippi. So she just said, listen, I'm going to let the state investigators handle this and do their job. And I don't want to comment on an active investigation. But I was shocked. I mean, again, I know that senators represent their state and that this is not a federal issue. So I know the FBI is involved, but that doesn't mean that senators have to know about it. But I was shocked at just the dearth of knowledge on Capitol Hill. So I wanted to start there. Going into this other case, Don, before I talk about the details of this, it's why people like me, you, and anybody else that's commenting on this needs to make sure that we are speaking very carefully, because lawsuits are a real thing. People can lawyer up, and people can sue you based on what you say. Libel, defamation, they are very real. And so just a word of caution for all of our fellow journalists and commentators and broadcasters who are commenting on this and other issues. But this case...
So we've been saying, though, Daniel, in our newsletter, every single day we say at some point you have to let the truth speak.
Yes.
To define the narrative and not the falsities that have been going around. And there have been many of them.
Yeah, and this case is really symbolizes that. There's a young man named Bart Edmonston, and he was a football player in that town. And there's a photo that went around of him with a young lady that people are saying is Katie McCormick. You may know that name. Katie McCormick is the young lady that reportedly Nolan Wells stayed behind on Horn Island with. And so people are saying they have accused Bart of murdering Nolan without any evidence. They've accused Bart of murdering Nolan over this girl because people have identified her as Katie. Now, Bart has come out and said, the girl in the photo isn't Katie. I didn't even know who Katie was until this whole Nolan situation came about. And he has lured up and threatened to file a lawsuit against people for defiling him, accusing him of murder when he says he was on the island. He lent his boat to help somebody in need, but he has no involvement in Nolan's murder.
Let's get into this because Andy, let's put this up because I think this is really important. It says ex-teammate of Nolan Wells takes steps to sue influencer over online accusations, and there's a photograph of him. I guess it's Bart and I guess a young lady who was there. I can't see the thing.
The photo is Bart and Nolan.
Yeah, I see Nolan, but I'm talking about the young lady in the middle. And it said the center. Well, she's the influencer, right?
I think we have a different article. Maybe.
This is.
I'm looking at the Mississippi Free Press. Is the one that I'm looking at, and no, mine has a photograph of it. Refresh, see what happens. if you refresh the page. Did it come up? I can't see right now. But mine.
Oh yeah, wow, look at that.
There we go. And so apparently, according to this site, this is the influencer Kimbra Lee for defamation on July 29, 2026 over social media posts that he says imply he may have played a role in Nolan Wells' death. Wells is on the right, was found dead on Horn Island, Mississippi, 2 days after traveling there with his friends on July 4th weekend. And so they're saying that former teammate of his, if you look down at Ocean Springs High School football team, is set to pursue defamation claims after alleging that a flurry of unfounded accusations on social media led to a death threat. So he's getting death threat, has a death threat. Russ Latino, a lawyer and the CEO of the nonprofit news publication Magnolia Tribune, announced that he was representing Edmondson in a Facebook post alleging that defamatory statements are putting Bart, his family, and friends in harm's way. Latino sent out the first of what he says will be multiple cease and desist demands today, demanding an apology and correction from influencer Kimbra Lee, who has more than 200,000 followers across Facebook and Instagram. So this is only the beginning. Now, some of the reports that we wanted you that are, alleging things that we don't know to be true, and you may see some of the reports like this. Andy, do you have the one? I think it was a YouTube person or something, and we showed it. We had it played in the editorial meeting. Can you play it, please?
Reporting live from Ibis Club, Fright Plus News, I'm John Abba. The case in Nolan Wells looks to be one of the most interesting cases in recent years. A black teen in Mississippi goes missing after being left on an island by his friends, who happen to be a mainly all-white group, and is found washed ashore 2 days later. At the start of this case, local authorities to some spoke too soon by suggesting that no foul play appeared to be suspected, and then later reassured Wells' family and those interested in the case that it will be handled like any other case. Now, from our point of view, that could be the error, because Nolan Wells' mysterious death is not like any other case.
Okay.
On
So
Tuesday,
these are the stories, and I'm sure you guys have seen them on social media, on YouTube. Now, look, no shade to this creator or influencer. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. But when you get reports like that, you cannot always hang your hat on the authenticity.
I can say about this young lady, she has legal background. She went to university for being a lawyer, I believe, but she is very bold in what she says. She's very adamant, and she accuses a lot without saying allegedly. So it is very important for us to continue to try to ask questions without making accusations, if that makes sense. Let's keep going.
Of those reports, because I've seen reports about me from very similar influencers or very similar content creators, and none of it is true. A lot of it is just made up.
Yes, you are.
So you have to be really careful about what you're listening to. You can listen to whatever you want, but check different sources.
Just be careful,
Daniel, because they could end up like this Kimbra Lee. If you put stuff out on social media, you have enough followers where they believe it will make a difference, and you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. That's why I always say, pay attention to trusted journalists. If you're going to be on independent media, listen to me, listen to Joy. You go on Roll, and you go on, listen to those folks. But some of these folks just make up things just for content, the sake of content, and because they get money from it. I'm not saying that particular one is doing that, but I'm just saying, just be careful, especially when you hear someone, usually when it's just a voice. Sometimes it sounds like AI. It could be AI. It's just a voice. Nobody's putting their face on it. No one is saying, they're not showing you sources. They're not saying allegedly or according to reports, or giving you any sort of information that's fact. They're just playing on your emotion and the sort of sensation of it. Do you need to be careful about that? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Daniel.
No, and I think, Don, listen, Don, I know this goes back to when you were in local news and I was in local news. We were always taught that, whether you have 100 people watching you or hundreds of thousands, that this is a privilege of what we get to do. And you've got a platform and you've got to use it wisely. And so again, just making sure that you are judicious, as you said, with your sourcing, and just making sure that you are, listen, I understand why people are trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
We are going to kind of skip through this.
Any sort of conclusions, because
So
behind the
basically,
scenes, my teaching days, but
she's being
planning, there's all
sued,
their
and
trying to get, I'll just, is that
we want to get to our next topic.
Maybe you hadn't hopped on yet, but again, I talked about it this morning. I'm okay. I have a thick skin. I've been in this business for long enough to know that it's a large.
Is what's the therapist? First, a word from our
All right.
sponsors.
Nope.
America has a lot of
Let's get
religions.
to this as well.
Separate.
Because there's a couple more clips that I want to bring to your attention.
Thank you, Elliot Connie, who is a psychotherapist and also on social media. I guess, can we call you an influencer and a thought leader on social media, if you don't mind?
I don't mind.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you joining. Can we talk about the emotion surrounding this? You know, we've been talking a lot about the family, but even some of the folks that I have, the subscribers here, my legends, were saying I couldn't, you know, I had to bow out for a week being on the show. I couldn't listen to much more news. This is so emotional for me. Not only that, but we'll get to that. But can we talk about the breaking news, the psychology around people who threaten other people, and the psychology around people who are making up shit on social media?
Yeah, I wish I could say more. Man, I wish I could say more about that. But when I heard the threats and the review bombing that the mother was going through, and some of the people on social media posting about this story and the threats that they've been receiving, including me, I wish I could tell you. The best I can do is to say, I think people view the Don Lemons and the whomever as just like a thing in the screen instead of an actual living, breathing human being that has feelings and family and thoughts. And we live in these kind of echo chambers, and we forget. And I would like to spend a whole lot of time talking about this today. Like the best of us are able to choose our emotions. And when we're in a situation like this, that something tragic has happened, regardless of how you think it happened, something tragic has happened, you have to choose the emotion of compassion, of empathy, of warmth. And sometimes we don't actively choose. And the most readily available emotions to us are things like anger. And people just want to be angry instead of actively choosing the emotion that's right for that moment.
People just want to be angry. And I guess an angry emotion is easier because it's a sort of knee jerk. I don't know what's attractive about folks being angry.
Well, I think it's just, it's so easily available to us, right? Like if someone posts something I don't like, I can just jump on my phone and call that person a name. Like look at
So Warren, I'm going to ask you some very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan?
Okay, let's break down this interview. For those of you who do not know, I was an interrogator, human intelligence collector, source operator in the Army. It's important for me to give you those credentials up front because I want you to know from where I'm coming, where I break this interview down. I am an expert in what I'm about to do. I was trained by the Army to identify deception. I have multiple certifications in scientific content analysis, which is where we break down people's statements, the verbiage they use, the change in verbiage, the line count of how they speak. I was certified in the Reed interrogation technique, which is a technique in which we analyze how people speak about things, and where and how to identify deception. I was a certified Army interrogator. I was also a source operator, human intelligence collector. I've been through strategic debriefing courses. I've done strategic debriefing. I've done interrogations, thousands of them. I'm an expert in listening to what people say and analyzing their word, but most importantly, identifying deception. And so it's important for me to explain to you one thing before we get started. When I say I'm going to identify deception, this does not mean a lie. People are deceptive for many different reasons. Like if I ask you a question, you may be deceptive in your answer because you don't want to hurt my feelings. You may be deceptive in your answer because you're embarrassed about something you did. You may be deceptive in your answer because you're worried that somebody might take it the wrong way and you'll get in trouble for something you didn't do. There's lots of reasons people are deceptive, which is why in my previous job, once I identified the deception, I would then use that as a point of interrogation to get to the bottom of why you were being deceptive, and that's how we uncover the truth. So when I point out in the following interview where Warren is being deceptive, he's being very clearly deceptive, and I will articulate to you why I believe so. I don't know why he's being deceptive, and the only way I would know that is if I could sit down and interrogate Warren and ask him very pointed questions in a very strategic manner, which is what interrogation is, pointed questions in a strategic manner, to get to the bottom of why he's being deceptive. Now, I have some theories, and I'll present those theories, but bear in mind, those are only my theories. I am basing my theories, my presumptions, and my conclusions based off of nothing more than publicly available information. I don't have any access to any information that anybody watching this doesn't have access to. And also, let me just point out, Officer Tatum is a very opinionated, super right-leaning channel. And like this guy has a reputation for being against the narrative that racism is even a thing in America. This guy has a reputation for ignoring facts and just clinging to a narrative. This guy has a reputation for creating and spinning a narrative in the favor of the way he wants it to be presented. So it's very telling to me that this is the channel that these guys decided to break their silence on. But nonetheless, let's jump into the interview and let's start kind of listening to what Warren says, and let me explain to you where he's being deceptive and why. Let's get into it.
All right, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last 2 days. Went out to Horn Island. So I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things, and the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend.
To hear Nolan's story through you, listen, I'm going to talk a lot during this interview about how the interviewer, in this case, Officer Tatum, who I believe is a former police officer, and depending on what duties he had as a police officer, I don't know his resume at all, he may or may not have been trained in questioning and interviewing and interrogation. Some police officers are. And if he has been trained in interviewing and questioning, interrogation, then he's doing this on purpose, or he's just doing it on purpose because he just understands interviews. But he's leading the listener, he's leading the interview, and he's leading the person he's interviewing, the interviewee. He's leading them along for things to be said that aren't being said. You can't tell, this guy can't tell Nolan's story. The evidence will tell Nolan's story, but not this guy. But anyway, it's very important that he chose that language.
And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But, you know, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above.
It's very important that he said that because he is setting the stage. Why is he the one guy who came forward to tell the story? Because everybody else is scared to tell the story because they keep getting death threats from the internet. Warren's mom is a judge. This is calculated. You can't convince me otherwise. Warren's mom is a judge, and that's who they allowed to come on and break the silence first on a very safe, curated interview where their story would not be challenged or pushed against. And I am convinced, and I'll show you why in the language that Warren uses, I am convinced that his mother, who is a judge, gave him a lot of guidance and instruction on how to give this interview and answer these questions.
But you decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give the statement
because your mom is
and get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Notice the question, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Notice the question. The question's important. When you're talking about analyzing people's language and body language and all of that, you have to understand the context of the question.
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean,
I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I'm not going to, but I could. See, when you're an interrogator, when you're trained to listen to what people say, you got to listen to what people say. I could describe him in a million ways, but that means he's not going to.
Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up.
It's important that he said that Nolan was not just a best friend to me, but he was a brother. Please remember that.
Through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends. And Nolan was like a brother to me. And
I said that twice.
Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. There's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never gotten an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
I want you to notice that in that entire description, he described Nolan generically. Someone who's not Nolan's best friend or like a brother could have described Nolan. Hey, every time I saw Nolan, he had a smile on his face. I've never seen the guy be mean to anybody. He lights up every room he walks into. These are things you describe people that you just know about in your life. That's not how you describe people that you are very close to. When you describe people that you're as close to as this guy claims to be, you describe personal relationship. You describe a personal connection. You describe things that only you as a friend would know, right? Think about how you would describe your friend. You would give personal examples. This one time we did this. You would do something that was more personable than this generic description of Nolan. And I'm going to show you in the rest of his language why I believe that his relationship with Nolan was more of just a general friend relationship. Like they all kind of hang out in the same circles. So he interacted with Nolan a lot by virtue of that association, but it's an associative relationship, not a best friend like brother relationship. I don't believe that.
Yeah, and you guys, you said you kind of grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right.
It's important that mom said that. First of all, we're not going to brush off what Nolan Wells' mother said. She said, she implied, as Officer Tatum said here, she doesn't really know these guys that well that are claiming to be his best friends. That's very important. I have kids. I know who their friends are. If you've got kids, you know who their friends are. So when I hear mom say, I don't really know these guys, that matters to me. Because as a parent, if she don't really know you that way, then maybe the relationship is not as close as you claim it is. And when I listen to the rest of the words that Warren is about to say, Warren's word, the deceptive behavior of his words, makes me believe mom. Listen to this.
Well, Nolan, a lot of the times was at like my house, and
quick deflection because we weren't over there. He was over at my house. We weren't over at his house.
At my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. And my friend group's very, very tight knit.
My friend group. He mentions a group.
We hang out every day when
we hang out. The group.
We're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And
we hung out. He's not talking about him and Nolan. He's talking about his friend group. You have to listen to the words people say. He said, my friend group. He didn't say me and Nolan. He didn't say me and Nolan hung out every day. And me and Nolan were tight knit. And me and Nolan hung out on the weekends. He said, my friend group. Let's back it up. I want you to listen to it. I want you to hear the words he says. It's very, very important. Back this up just a little bit.
Never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit.
My friend group's very tight knit. And from this point on, everything he describes is his friend group, not him and Nolan.
I mean, we hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's house, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I like got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. And
we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. Every time he mentions Nolan, I want you to notice that every time this guy mentions Nolan, he ropes in the friend group. He has to rope in the friend group because his relationship with Nolan is not this best friend, like a brother relationship that he's presenting it to be, which is why mom doesn't really know him.
I agree.
Because really, Nolan was just in the friend group, the general group of friends. It was an associative relationship, which is why the only way he can honestly give an answer right now is to rope in the friend group.
Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat. And I mean, we were just super, super close.
That's the first personal example he's given this entire interview, is them meeting at Waffle House. That's what a personal example looks like when you're talking about a friend.
But his dad would swing by Waffle House, you know, and like, you know, hang out around us, but never, you know, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, you know, anyone else. So,
as anyone else, because it's an associative relationship. Me and Nolan were just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as anyone else. He always has to bring in the friends because it's a friend group associative relationship.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
These are leading questions. He's leading. This guy, Officer Tatum, is leading the interview to come to a pre-designated conclusion. It's so obvious.
Something that you guys did more than just this year. This is a two-part question. I want to know, is this something that you guys typically did together? That you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay.
Now listen to the answer. You heard the long, drawn out, very pointed, very leading question. It was a poorly designed question, but it was on purpose. And so now listen to the answer, because the answer is not the answer.
You know, being from the Gulf Coast, there's a boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, you know, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see what I want you to watch that. Watch the cut. They cut the interview. Very, very, very important. Watch this. Watch when he said Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Watch this.
Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see that cut? Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Why would the interviewer cut the interview? Because he probably said some shit that's very telling. He had to point out that Nolan was on the boat with us last year. That's how close we are. We're just best friends. Nolan was on the boat with me. And in a minute, he's going to describe how the boat is 2-3 boats, 20, 30 people. Because once again, it's not about it's not because him and Nolan are so close that Nolan was on the boat with him last year. Nolan was on the boat with him last year because apparently that's what people do in groups of 20 and 30. But that cut right there, very, very telling. That wasn't an edit at just a random part. That was an edit at the exact part he's talking about Nolan being with him last year. But probably because Officer Tatum and his team was like, ooh, take that out. Whatever he said. We don't know.
And he was, I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home.
Why didn't you finish the sentence? He's talking about Nolan now. He's talking about Nolan and he doesn't finish the sentence. He says he was on the boat with us last year, and he was my friends and I, because he goes right back to the friend group because he's not. Watch how he does it.
He was I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home.
Where's the rest of that
common.
statement?
That's what we like to do.
Because he's being deceptive.
My friends like to fish also.
My friends
like to go on the boat, not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises, like to do it all, on the water, And I mean, Nolan loved to do that too. I mean,
here's all my friends do, and oh, by the way, Nolan too. It's an associative relationship.
It's not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water, and
he has nothing specific to say about Nolan. You can't be a best friend with a guy. We're like brothers. But every single time he talks about Nolan and his character and anything about Nolan, it's just like everybody else in the group. He's just like everybody else. There's no difference. It's very generic.
Have a good time with the guys, and that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said, like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us, and he was always welcome to come. Nolan
with us, not with me, not my bestie. Not hey twin, we're going on the boat. Nope, it's with us. He wants to go with us, the group, my friends, the group.
Was always out there with us, and us. But started 4th of July. My buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming. Everybody's very, very excited for.
He just did what's called a timeline switch, and this is also this is something, if I was taking notes in interrogation, I would take a note of that and I would come back to it and I would exploit this area, because why did you timeline jump there? I'm going to tell you what he did, and I'm going to let you listen to it one more time so you can see it. He said it started 4th of July. My friends and I spent weeks planning up to this. So he started on the 4th of July. He said the word started on the 4th of July. Then he went 3 weeks backwards. And anytime somebody does that, you got to take note of it. Like, why are we timeline jumping? Watch.
My buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming with us, and he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us, and
watch.
But started 4th of July. My buddies and I had talked about this week.
My buddies and I had talked about this weeks in advance.
Weeks upcoming.
So he just did a timeline jump.
Everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Very, very big deal. And I mean, I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and
I stayed with Nolan. He's using that language so that you'll feel like him and Nolan are just so tight. I stayed with Nolan at my buddy's house. So you stayed with your buddy and Nolan just happened to be there, but you're misrepresenting the nature of your relationship.
I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's.
You see it now. I ain't even got to tell you anymore, because now you're starting. Now I've trained you.
McDonald's got food. Nolan.
We went to McDonald's and got food.
Was not with me.
Nolan was not with me. Me and my buddy woke up and went and got food. Nolan was not with me. My brother, my homie, my bestest friend in the widest world, he went with me.
And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and
he did a timeline jump again. Y'all getting trained, ain't you? You're starting to figure it out, ain't you? What? He's all over the map. Anytime somebody's all over the map, when you're asking about an event that should be sequential, it's very deceptive. It's red flags like a motherfucker. If I was doing an interrogation, I'm going to be all over this timeline right now.
No emotion
especially when we're talking about the timeline of the morning of the event in question. If you're doing an investigation, interrogation, and you have an event in question, and we're talking about the timeline the morning of, it is very problematic to have this many red flags in the sequence of events of the morning of. I'm going to play back the morning of. Now that I've trained you to listen to the timeline, I want you to listen to what he says. I want you to follow the order of events. Him and his buddy woke up. They went to McDonald's. Then what happened next? Watch, follow it in your brain, and you're going to see how much he's being deceptive. Watch.
At my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me, and I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck, and first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came.
Whoa! I thought you went from your buddy's house to McDonald's. Notice how you got food twice too. By the way, he said me and my buddy woke up, went to McDonald's, and I got some food, got breakfast. Yeah, that's what McDonald's is. So he mentioned that twice. Then all of a sudden he went back to his house, then back to McDonald's, right? He's actively trying to give you a story that has been given to him. His mother, who is a judge, I believe, this is my opinion, has coached him on how to answer questions on the timeline the morning of. Why? I don't know. I'm not saying this guy did it. I'm not saying this guy did anything. I'm not saying that. I don't have the evidence to be able to say that. What I'm saying is this is deceptive. What I'm saying is you're not giving me a sequential order of events, and it's very red flaggy.
Back and the boat was already hooked up to my truck.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. I went to my house and got my did you hook the boat up, or was the boat already hooked up? Did you go to your house, or did you go to McDonald's?
My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See that cut? Another cut. Another cut. He's in the middle of stumbling through the timeline. He's all over the fucking place. Officer Tatum knows he's all over the fucking place. So they probably coached him right here. Watch the edit. You can see the edit. Once again, watch.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and
I think he said Wyatt there. It's also important that I think he said Wyatt.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See the edit? Watch his head jerk. See the edit? I'm doing it one more time in case you missed it.
And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See it?
Filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who you talking about? You, Nolan, or no?
Keep in mind, this entire time, Nolan's still not with him. He said they went to McDonald's and got food, then ran to his house, and it's all over the fucking map. But he wanted to point out with you, Nolan wasn't with me. We're best friends. We're like brothers, but I'm never with the guy. But we're like best friends. We're just never together.
And how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. You know, it wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear, because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys.
That's a lie. See, Officer Tatum is leading this interview on purpose to be deceptive, to make it sound like the narrative on the internet's the evil villain here. It's just not true. Nobody, I've been following this case since it happened. At no point did anybody say it was just him and a few friends. Everybody made it clear there was a bunch of people there partying. Early on in this case, we saw cell phone footage of what appeared to be an argument. We now know it was another friend who says that was him in an argument, but we've seen tons of boats around, tons of people around. Since the beginning, they've been asking for witness statements because everybody acknowledges that there was tons of people on the island. So Officer Tatum is just flat out lying here and setting this question up so that you'll question the veracity of everybody on the internet. And this poor kid who's just here telling the truth is trying to debunk the internet. This is a setup.
And y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean,
and nobody ever said it. So
Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people there was 1 row of boats.
Like, that might sound deceptive, but it's just him. What he was trying to say, as far as my eye could see. But I don't find that to be deceptive. I just find that to be a 18-year-old who couldn't find the word.
And then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island to where, I mean, who knows? I mean, and that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat, you're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton.
Cut. There was a cut right there. There was a cut right there. Watch the cut. Cuts are important, especially in an interview like this. When he says Nolan was on Wyatt's 22-foot Triton, watch the cut, the edit.
Boats. Right. What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton.
Saw it.
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well."
He called Bart the morning of, but they were planning this for weeks in advance. Keep in mind, everybody agreed. Just a minute ago, he said everybody agreed to meet, I believe, at Wyatt's grandfather's house, is what he said. And so he drove Wyatt's boat from the dock over to the grandfather's house where they agreed to meet after they got McDonald's and everything else. Now he's saying, I called Bart the morning of. It was like, hey, can you bring your boat out? But just a minute ago, they put 3 weeks of planning into this. Remember that? Remember when he said, when he did that timeline jump, we did 3 weeks of planning? It's very deceptive that he's now telling us last minute we added a whole new boat. It's this guy Bart, who, by the way, was just so happened to last minute be available to bring his boat. Thanks be to the heavens.
My dad decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we.
Once again, he's not with Nolan. Like a brother to me. Like a brother. I ain't never with him, mother. I ain't never with him. He's like a brother to me.
At a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like, what was this trip like? How was the waters? Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music? Is it like a big party? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously music's blasting. It's 4th of July, man. I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, we're just trying to make sure everybody, gets out there safe. And
he just can't answer the goddamn question. Like, this is another red flag. What were you doing from the time you left the dock to the time you went to the island? Again, this is another question that is directly related to timeline events the morning of the actual event in question. That's very important when you're investigating, especially something this serious. And he can't answer it's the 4th of July, and everybody's excited, and then we're worried about everybody's safety on the boat. Like, he's all over the fucking place, but he's not answering the question. And he's going to eventually, but he's doing a thing that's deceptive, and I'll explain it more when you hear the rest of his answer.
So, I mean, on the way out there,
he finally says on the way out there, finally gets there.
It was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And, I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And
he was coached to point out the waters were calm. The winds weren't blowing that hard. It was a great day to be on the water. He was coached to say that. I feel strongly that he was coached to say that because it was so awkward that he said it right there. It in no way answered the question. He's avoiding it. The question was, what the fuck were y'all doing on the boat? Were you listening to music? I mean, Officer Tatum set it up for him. Hey, say you were listening to music. He set it up. And the guy instead of giving that easy end, yeah, we were listening to music, drinking beer and hanging out, he's giving this big, long, convoluted roundabout. And he throws in there awkwardly, by the way, it was a nice day out.
So, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was
calm.
A little more rough.
On the way back, we just skipped the whole island. We just skipped being at the island the whole day. We're already on the way back. Timeline jump.
but it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like it wasn't like
Why does he feel it's important to point out to us the conditions of the water and the weather and whether or not the boats can handle it? Literally. This is where I would exploit that information in an interrogation. Hey, Warren, why do you keep mentioning that? Can you explain to me why is that important? There's a reason that he keeps bringing this up. The reason that he knows and we don't know.
You're getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there.
So we still don't know what he was doing on the boat on the way out there, by the way. He did mention that there was some music playing. Yeah, it's music. Why? It's 4th of July, brother. Then he goes on to these diatribes about the weather nobody asked about.
I'm assuming that you line the boats up, because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island.
Of course not.
A few people. This is thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't, but.
We pulled up at 10:30, early afternoon. 10:30 is early morning or mid-morning. We'll call it mid-morning. But nobody calls 10:30 early afternoon. Immediate red flag. Immediate deception. We pulled up 10:30. It was, early afternoon. It was what?
10:30 is, still pretty early in the day.
Yeah, it is early in the day, not early afternoon.
Hey, and when we got there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking, when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
A boat. When we went out there earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
It's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles.
Roughly. I just happen to know the exact measurement of that island. I did not prepare for this interview. I'm just roughly throwing that off the top of my head.
And it's.
So you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or just a small area of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July, and everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people, but there's still a lot of boats out there. It's not like no one, every area of Horn Island is covered 100%.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do you do? When I say jump out, you obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water, on the island, in the boat? Like, how is that look out there?
Everybody, as soon as you get there, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks.
Except for his friend Bart, who just called this morning. He was not fully prepared.
Some food that they need because, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But
not Bart.
When we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side.
Notice how this guy who can't give me a singular fucking coherent detail immediately locks in to tell you exactly where every boat was.
And
the order.
There was about a drop off from where the bow was. If you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water, but if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. But when we got there,
bow's the front, stern's the back, in case you don't know.
Tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. Then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group, and then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around.
Next thing you know, it's our group. Next thing you know, it's the way he speaks is deceptive.
And us, and then
when I'm interested in timeline. When you don't speak in chronological order, red flag for me.
It just grew and grew as the day came on. And, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
I want you to notice in this entire answer, he never said what they were doing. He said what everybody was doing. He keeps doing that. He keeps generically referencing what happens generically on Horn Island on the 4th of July. He never Tatum asks him, hey, what do you guys do on the boat on the way out? Never tells you that, tells you all about the weather. What did you guys do when you got there? Well, everybody out there just drinks and eats. It's what people do on Horn Island. This is generically what happens. Never answers the question. That's on purpose.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students, out on the island, women. You probably had alcohol, so y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats.
Watch that swallow. Watch that uncomfortable shift in demeanor. He just mentioned you were probably underage drinking, and they go, yeah, of course. And then he says, where was Nolan? He goes, watch this uncomfortable shift in demeanor when he asked that question.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there.
Looks away off in the distance. I don't know who's standing off camera, but he looks in that direction. Swallows. He's uncomfortable.
There are 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and
I had a couple conversations with. That's where you start. In my line of work, where people start to answer your question is very, very telling. The question was quite pointed and specific. Where was Nolan? Rather than saying where Nolan was, he starts off with, I had a couple conversations with Nolan. I think this serves 2 purposes. I think it's to, once again, to lead the viewer to believe he was such a close friend with Nolan. He's my best buddy. I think that's number 1. I also think number 2 is to try to validate him as a source of information. But let's hear what he says.
I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies.
Once again, every time he brings Nolan in, he has to bring in the other buddies. Have you noticed that every single time he does that, it's never just him and Nolan, it's him, Nolan, and the other buddies? It's an associative relationship.
Yeah, in a group, I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age and even people older than us were, over there. It was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend.
This answer is already gone all the way away from Nolan and completely to his buddies. Very deceptive.
Fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands, and
had nothing to do with the question.
I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and Nolan was drinking. Everybody
has to point out Nolan's drinking.
Was drinking, most of everybody. And Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations.
No specifics on making me laugh. Just trust me, he was generically making me laugh.
Conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James.
I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and James, never just with Nolan.
And I can tell you, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. There was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And
I grew up having a best friend, like the one he's describing, the one's like a brother. And it didn't matter where my best friend and I went. We were kicking it together. Other people might kick it with us, but we were kicking it together. So I just think that he's misrepresenting their relationship. I strongly believe he's misrepresenting between the way he talks and way it always sounds associative, and the fact that he provides no specific examples about Nolan. They're all generic.
Nolan said something interesting you told me about.
I want you to listen to this question. I want you to listen to this answer, because this is where he ends the first part of this interview, and it is, oh my God, red flag central.
Hundreds of people I knew out there.
I had to back it up because I need you to listen.
And Nolan said something interesting you told me about this. Something he said to you.
I want you to notice there was a cut there too. Notice the cut right as he starts asking the question about Nolan. Warren gets uncomfortable again, and then there's an edit cut.
Nolan said something interesting you told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned
Tatum's trying to establish their friendship is so close. He said something to you that I would say is indicative of your friendship, because the words that Nolan said shows how close of friends you guys are. Listen to what it says.
Something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and
Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking. Once again, not Nolan and him.
You know, I grew up with Nolan, and
we're going back to growing up with Nolan. We just went backwards for no reason.
Nolan's, you know, just all, like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan.
Why are we talking about Nolan's pictures, and what did he say to you? That was the question asked.
A picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, you know. And Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is.
That's how our friend group is. Not me and Nolan, just our friend group.
Jokingly laugh. You know, no one takes anything that serious. You know, we enjoy our time together. You know, I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out like.
Notice how he's making it very group general, because he knows that his relationship with Nolan is not as he has represented it. But listen to when he finally tells you what Nolan said that was so indicative of their friendship.
And if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, you know, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, you know, all my buddies are the same exact way. You know, Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like that's how he was. So
never answered the question. He's basically saying, if you ever need something, I'm here. That's how he was. He didn't say he said that to me that day. Officer Tatum is trying to phrase the question to imply that on Horn Island that day, Nolan walked up with him, patted him on the shoulder and said, brother, you ever need something, I'm here for you. That's how they're trying to present it. They're trying to present it in a very deceptive way that Nolan came up and said, if you ever need something, I'm here for you. And in this convoluted, roundabout, fucking all over the place answer that he gave, he said, Nolan was the kind of guy, if you ever need something, I'm here for you. That's how he was. Not Nolan said that to me. Not Nolan told me that directly that day. This is disgustingly deceptive.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And like, explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
And that's where he ends the interview right here. The next part, the part 2, he goes to Horn Island. And oh my God, I found a couple spots in that interview on Horn Island. It is red flag to the fucking highest degree. I'm going to show you one. And when I show it to you, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's bad. But let me real quick edit this video. I think I'm already at 45 minutes. So in the interest of not making a deal with him in a second video myself, because it'll end up being 45 minutes. If you enjoy this type of analysis, please do me a favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow for more.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed his analysis. Let me show you a couple more clips that came out tonight, and then we will end for tonight. And we will pick up tomorrow, if that is okay with you guys. So I do have another clip. This is Officer, I don't know what to call this guy, but he's trying to discredit, it's the Tatum guy. He's trying to discredit the audio that we all heard, right? We won't let him go, because I want to know. I'll let you know after we watch this. I'll let you know my analysis. Okay, let's just look at it.
Detail assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
There is verifiable proof from people that spoke to me and also law enforcement that people had seen Nolan after this call had occurred and after the boys had left already. So that creates an impossibility that someone could be talking about Nolan being dead if he's seen alive after this. Before we get back to the show, I want to tell you guys about Synergy. If you're tired of energy drinks that spike you up, make you jittery, and then crash you later, Synergy is built differently. Synergy Day gives you clean, steady energy and focus with natural caffeine from green tea. Synergy Night helps you wind down so that you can rest, you can wake up clean, not groggy. It's a simple day and night system made with natural ingredients, no sugar spikes, and no synthetic stimulant overload. Go to synergylife.com and try it for yourself. Better energy, better rest, better rhythm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need to address something real quick before I get to this news that was just presented to me, which could allude to potential foul play against Nolan Wells. And let me just say this right off the bat. There's alcohol involved.
First of all, what does he mean against
What
Nolan
is being
Wells? Nolan Wells is the victim. So what the F-U-C-K, Jesus, you know what I'm talking about, and everybody in the comments know what I'm alluding to. What the fuck are you talking about against Nolan Wells? I do not like this guy. Let's keep going.
before I get to this news that was just presented to
Sorry
me,
for cussing, guys.
which could allude to potential foul play against Nolan Wells. And let me just say this right off the bat. There's alcohol involved. What is being told to me that 100% there's involved. There's multiple people involved. People that may have seen Nolan last, but is not being truthful and coming forward as to what they saw, who was with him last. And we have various people that have come out or come to us with the information. And one was sent in a DM honing in on one particular person that may have been in an altercation with Nolan. Now, this appears to be post the phone call and the boys that I talked to who had already left. And I've been telling people that it appears that the young men that I interviewed had nothing to do with this. And the sentiment still continues. I have names. I know who these people are. My goal with this is to present it to law enforcement before I say anybody's name. But I'm gonna let you guys know what I have heard so you can have a perspective, because when the autopsy comes out, or at least the toxicology results comes out, it's gonna prove whether or not people are saying things to me that are not true, or the sources that I believe are verified are accurate. Before we get to that, I need to follow up and dispel this mythical phone call, because I think people are still pushing this. And I've been telling you guys from the very beginning that I think that they're pushing people in the wrong direction. When you get information that leads you to believe that this group of people had nothing to do with it, you need to move on and look at other leads. And I feel like in this case, people are so bent on making it about race and making it specifically about these white boys like low-hanging fruit because they reported he was missing. They seen him on a day of the thing. Y'all just jumping into conclusions, making it about them. And with the information that I got today, and I really been holding some of it for the last several days. I just needed to verify a few things.
Is that on my channel, the Truth Gang has never made it about the white boys. You're wrong, Officer Coonery. We want to know what happened to Nolan. So while you are on the internet, gaslighting, deflecting, and race baiting, it still doesn't answer the question. You should be asking Mississippi, what is the cause of death for Nolan Wells? But instead, you're on the internet, rage and race baiting. Period. Let's keep going.
That people should have been going in another direction instead of wasting time with these boys that I had already been vindicated. Let's go to the tow call, and this is on Nancy Grace's show. And hopefully I get an opportunity to talk to Nancy Grace about this, because I just feel like you have to be very mindful in doing due diligence before you put these things out on the internet, given the fact of the confusion that it could cause. Just real quick, this is why I don't believe that I think people are hearing what they want to hear and not what is said. Either this is doctored or people are hearing things that they want to hear and not what's said. Because there is verifiable proof from people that spoke to me and also law enforcement that people had seen Nolan after this call had occurred and after the boys had left already. So that creates an impossibility that someone can be talking about Nolan being dead if he's seen alive after this. And I'm being told in some of the things that I've seen.
Okay, so first of all, we have seen no proof, zero proof, that Nolan was seen alive. Have we not? Have we not? Have we seen any proof? All do we have is speculations and we have hearsay. We have not seen reports of witnesses or pictures or video of witnesses saying that Nolan Wells is seen alive after what we heard on the call. I know I haven't. So what I'm telling you, Officer Tater, is show the proof or shut the F up. Show the proof or STFU. Period.
Is that people have seen him alive right before
Where?
6 p.m., which is over an hour after this happened. All right, let's get to the clip, and we're gonna further dispel this with TMZ's reporting as well. Roll it.
Oh my God.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking.
Nolan,
How
don't
can I
die.
help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd you
Hello?
say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What?
All right, pause.
Did we-
I'm going to get to Nancy Grace here in a second. But I want you guys to go back, and I want you to take another listen. Now, I want you to frame this within the context that clearly Nolan is still alive during this period. So let's remove Nolan from this context. Let's play it within the context of them mentioning things on the boat being either dead or whatever the case may be. Put this in the context of they're on a boat, they're about to sink, the bilge port or whatever it's called is not working, dead, damaged, they're concerned. Put that in your mind as you listen.
So, no, absolutely the fuck not. I'm pissed off. I'm sorry to cussing. But now he's trying to gaslight us. And he's trying to deflect into us believing that the people in the background are talking about the bilge pump or the battery. Tatum, we're not believing that we're not believing that shit, okay? It's BS. It's bullshit. You're not gonna try to manipulate us into believing they're talking about the bilge pump is dead. What about Nolan's name that was called? What about Bart's name that was called? If you don't get GTFOH, get the F out of here. If it wasn't for the Holy Spirit, I'd be cussing his ass out right now.
And tell me if you hear something different than Nolan, is he dead, and all of that stuff. Roll it.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work
I'm
coming up,
trying,
sir?
baby. He done pissed
Can
me
you
the
give me a
fuck
description?
off.
Ankles?
What'd you
Hello?
say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What did we just hear? What was that? Straight out to investigative reporter Crime Stories, Dave Mack. Did you just hear what I heard? now.
All right, let me move on from this because she's going to interview another guy, and I'm running out of time. I gotta get through this. You guys can watch that on. Just go to her channel. You can see what her interview was. Now, I'm trying to help us not get too caught up and and people look like fools. So now go to the TMZ article.
No, sir. No, sir. You're not trying to help us. You're trying to help your paid viewers. You're cooning. And I said what I said. Sue me. Sue me because you're a coon. And I said what I said. I tried not to. God knows I tried not to. All my life. I had to fight against motherfuckers like you. Period. To my audience, Auntie Leah is sorry. I want to fight him. I want to fight him. A liar. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I want to fight this nigga. I mean, sorry, audience.
Real
I'm
quick,
sorry.
the TMZ presentation. TMZ played this, all of the above. Y'all were DMing me to death about this on TMZ. Let me just read this real quick from what TMZ said. Evidence appears to show Nolan Wells was still on Horn Island when his friend's boats left. TMZ has learned. Sources with direct knowledge of the investigation claim authorities have evidence of Nolan being on the Mississippi Barrier Island. Let's see, after the boat departed on the 4th of July, which will be a huge development. We're told that at least 2 witnesses who were interviewed by law enforcement say that they saw Nolan on the island after the boat headed back to the mainland. That's significant for many reasons. Now, what do you guys got to say about this? TMZ, who put it out, reiterated that there's people that are saying they saw Nolan afterwards. It continues. TMZ enhanced the audio of Nolan's friend's frantic call for help when their boat was sinking, and people believe you can hear someone saying, "Is he dead?" But our sources tell us people on the boat have heard the enhanced audio and are telling people around them the audio is only panic from a boat sinking. If you put that in context, you can see exactly what's going on.
I call BS. I call BS. Let's keep going.
Now, let's move on because I was given this video. And here's a video of the actual boat as they're getting towed out. Do you see Nolan on this boat?
Okay. Let me bring that up. Because you guys, we don't see Nolan on that boat. But have you noticed when you listen to the call how distant the sound is? Yeah. Officer Tatum thinks we're dumb. He thinks we're ignorant. No, Nolan is not on the video or the photos that you showed. I'll take that and I'll raise you that Nolan was not on Waya's boat. And that's why the background sounds the way it does. But Nolan was on Bart's boat. Until you show us the video and the photos on Bart's boat, I'm going to call your bullshit in the name of God. And let's keep going. Nolan wasn't on that boat. So these videos and photos that Officer Tate deflecting Tatum is showing us don't mean shit to me. Show me the photos of Bart's boat. Because we heard them more than once call Bart's name. Am I right, audience? Truth Gang, am I right? Where is Nolan? I think he's on Bart's boat. In my opinion.
Whatsoever. Now, I did this so we can get context. Now, the nut job lunatics that want to believe what they want to believe, don't worry about them. I'm talking of those of us who really care about getting to the bottom of this. and just hold on with me because we got to get to the new stuff that I just heard before we run out of time. So that's a video of that. Now let me present something else to you, because this is a video of what it looked like, and Nolan is in this video. We'll put the video up. Nolan is in this video. Put it on the screen. Pause it right here. So this was sent to us as well. I'm sure this video is circulating anyway. If you look at the boy in the blue shorts, right where his butt is at, you move over at the edge of the boat in his butt, and that's actually Nolan standing in the water right there. I'm going to have the team play the video and pan it so you can see what environment they were in. Similarly, when the boat began to sink. Roll the clip.
Guys, pay attention. The boat was only 22 feet long. Pay attention. Please. The boat was only 20 feet long. The voices would have been closer, right? We heard Wyatt loud and clear. On a 20-foot boat, if that altercation and what happened to Nolan was on the boat that Wyatt called on, guess what? The audio wouldn't have been that distorted, right? So he's showing photos and videos of Wyatt's boat. But we hear Bart. We hear what happened. It's Nolan's dead, far away from the call, right? The truth game, us. We think deeper to that. My mind and the Holy Spirit that lives in me tells me Nolan was not, in fact, on Wyatt's boat. The altercation was on what? Allegedly. And that's why the audio seems far away. So don't show me pictures of Wyatt's boat. Show me video and pictures. Let's get back into it.
Pause. Do you guys see how many people are out there? Play it again. Do you guys see how many boats are out there? So this is where the boat is at when they begin to become distressed. Right in this area. As you can see how close they are to the land. You can see where the coordinates were at. Right there. So when they're taking in water, when their boat is beginning to sink because it's anchored, it's happening right there. So for somebody to believe that this dispatch call is a desperate call with Nolan laying dead in the middle of their boat, that does not make sense. And to think that nobody saw it when they're entangled within all these people, I think is a disservice. But what I was told, and you guys, please take in consideration that it's reliable sources. However, the only way to prove the truth in this is if I see it with my own eyes, if the law enforcement have the investigation of this, and also when the toxicology results come out. But people are messaging me and telling me that there is heavy drinking and there's involved. And there's a particular person whom I know this person's name. I'm not going to disclose it. I'm going to go to the police first, and then I will disclose it if it doesn't interfere in the investigation. But this person allegedly was offering people cocaine. And someone close to Nolan, one of his friends, told me that this person was offered cocaine and rejected it from this person. And I was also told, and this person told me that it's over 100% chance that Nolan was using coke during this period of time. This person said it was
Bullshit.
150%.
He was going to football the next
Sure
fucking
that when
week.
the toxicology
Quit lying
comes
on
back,
this kid.
that Nolan will have cocaine in his system. Now, again, taking into consideration, this is somebody telling me this. I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it. I'm not able to verify it. But from the sources that I'm getting it from has been consistent, verifiable sources thus far, and hadn't been wrong about nothing.
Wrath of God upon you.
So there's a possibility that there's a person that Nolan may have been around or interacted with that is giving the people on this island that Nolan may have taken the coke. And then also, I received a DM.
Lies.
From someone DMing another person. Now I'm trying to leave these names out because I want to not mess this investigation up. I think law enforcement already have this. That alluded to the fact that, and I messaged this person because I want to talk directly to the person that I saw the DM from. And we haven't talked to this person yet. But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed to talk to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Now, the person did not say they saw a physical altercation. The person did not say what time they saw Nolan and this other person getting into an argument. Now, this is after Warren, their boat left. This may be somewhere around a little bit before 6, right around 6 or a little bit before 6 p.m. Now, according to the autopsy, which I interviewed a medical examiner about this, there is no evidence of blunt force trauma or an evidence that Nolan got into a physical altercation. So I'm putting all this stuff together, what people are sending me and all that, and I'm trying to find a neutral point to share with you. What I'm thinking at this point, with all that has been said, is that somebody knows exactly what happened to Nolan, or they saw him right before he died. I am not convinced that Nolan was just out there and drowned. It could be, that could have happened. But I'm more convinced now than ever based on what people have been telling me and DMs that I've been seeing, people that have been verified sources, that has to be something with this. There has to be something with Nolan and a girl, and there has to be something with Nolan potentially being in either altercation with somebody, which would lead me to believe that that person saw Nolan last. And that this other person that's giving people, so this person giving people, a girl, Nolan, and another person that he may have been in an argument with, to me, are people that need to be investigated. And I can say more, but I'm trying not to get anything messed up in this case because I want justice for Nolan, and I want the boys that weren't involved in this to not get caught up in stupidity. So just so you guys know, I know the names of the person. I believe I know who the girl is. And I know the name of the person that may have been in the argument with Nolan. And there's nothing conclusive that anybody's telling me where there was violence that occurred. But that does not mean that the violence is ruled out. That does not mean that something could have happened in the water. Another report came to me of someone saying that they saw Nolan with a girl, being intimate in the water to the point where it caught their attention. And they believed that they saw Nolan and this girl struggling in the water, not necessarily drowning, but struggling. Like it was obvious enough that.
So now he's saying that there was an incident to where Nolan and a girl was being intimate in the water and that there was some type of struggle. Nobody went to help them. I'm confused as to what he's saying. Guys, if you understand what this dude is saying, please drop it in the comments, because Auntie Leah, and welcome to all the nieces and nephews that are to join the Truth Gang. I'm confused about what he's saying. Let's pay attention, and then we're going to end this, and we'll meet up tomorrow. I love you guys. I'm confused. What are you talking about? Let's back it up a little bit. Nolan and who was in the water being intimate?
With a girl, being intimate in the water to the point where it caught their attention, and they believed that they saw Nolan and this girl struggling in the water, not necessarily drowning, but struggling. Like it was obvious enough that the person was concerned when they saw Nolan in the water, and he was with this girl, and that the person explicitly said that they were being intimate, which I don't know what that means as far as just kissing, hugging, cuddling, or something else. But that's what has been told to me. And these sources I think have been legitimized, but what they're saying, I haven't been able to verify. This is just someone saying this, and I'm telling you what I'm hearing. So when the toxicology come back, if there's in the system, to me, that will validate that these people that have been telling me this are being accurate. And like I said, somebody really close to Nolan made mention that they're almost 100% sure that he may have been partaking in the use of. And it's unfortunate. I've been knowing this, at least that part for a while now, but I didn't want to put his name out there like that, given the fact that he just lost his life. But now that we're getting more information, the investigation is going further along, I'm just putting it out there, and we shall see if what is being told is accurate. But I'll finish it with this. I'm leaning more towards believing that somebody directly saw Nolan and know how Nolan died. That's my take on it. I don't think he was just drowning out there messing around.
We got a plus with that, right? With this house Negro, and we got a plus with that, fam. So basically, he is acknowledging that he didn't believe or doesn't believe that Nolan died by accident. So we'll take that. But the other bullshit you said is bullshit. But we'll take that. We got Officer Coon Taylor agreeing that Nolan did not die by accident. Listen, family, listen to me. If Nolan would have died by drowning, on my page, on my Facebook page, if you don't follow me there, please follow me, because that's where I put the majority of my analysis. Had Nolan Wells' cause of death been by drowning, please know that Mississippi would have said that weeks ago. We're going into week 4 weeks. Please know that in other cases, the cause of death would have been released pending toxicology. Come on now. Cause of death is gunshot wound, drowning, stabbing, overdose, hitting the head, car accident. That is cause of death. You do not need the toxicology report that determines the manner of death: suicide, murder, accident. You don't need the toxicology report. We're going to finish this up, and I got one more clip. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you meet us every day. Please become a part of the Truth Gang. We love y'all. Everybody that blessed this channel with gifts, we love y'all. Every person that gave us gifts, we love y'all. Now, we only got one super chat out of the 10 for the goal tonight, but guess what? We still we're gonna end this right now.
I think that somebody know more than what they're saying, and I don't think it's a lot of people. I think it's a few people that were last on the island with Nolan that know what happened, that seen what happened, or may have knowledge of something that will lead police in the right direction to find out exactly
You're
what happened.
right, Tatum.
And I am encouraging you. I know some of y'all names. If it's you, you need to do the right thing. You need to go to authorities. And if you're there and you had nothing to do with it, you definitely need to go to authorities and clear your name. I'll say this: some of these people may have already gone to authorities. I don't know. The authorities won't tell me who they interviewed. So we'll go to that next step when it comes.
All right, guys.
Run for the United States Senate.
I got one more clip before we end tonight that I want to play, and then we will end for tonight, and we will meet up tomorrow. TMZ had some sort of breaking news that but before I play that, I wanted to basically kind of play you this clip from Twitter. Now, what I'm about to say is this is all alleged. It's supposed to be some type of the first page of Nolan Wells, or second page, first or second, of his toxicology report has been leaked. I don't know if that's true or not, guys. I need the officials to tell me that his toxicology report is out there. But there is one out there that has been circulating online on TikTok and YouTube. So I want to show you guys this, but I'm going to tell you to take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know that it's true or not. Okay? Let's watch this real quick. I'm going to blow it up. Let's get into it. Please know that I have not independently verified this information. So I don't know for a fact. Please don't leave this platform saying Auntie Leah said this as a fact. I did not. But I'm pissed. I'm pissed at what this shows. Let's go.
Peace, world peace. Welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks. Back with an update about Nolan Wells and his death investigation. I just happened to be in the right space at the right time and caught a screenshot of Nolan Wells' toxicology report, which was being shared on a TikTok live stream. Now, the person works, I guess, within the system somehow, and she has been providing this information to this content creator, which I'm just now finding out about. However, I took a screenshot of it, put it in AI to read it because it was very hard to read. And I'm going to just go through what AI said.
Please note that I also took a screenshot and I put it through AI. And I did not get the results of what this young lady is saying. Please note that as well.
Was on the document. Here's the document, how it looked when I put it in AI. And now we're going to just read the summary.
Here is a transcript and detailed breakdown of the official toxicology report shown in the document. Document summary. Agency, Mississippi Department of Forensic Sciences Toxicology Laboratory. Decedent, Nolan Wells, 18, male. Submitting agency, Harrison County Coroner's Office, Gulfport, Mississippi. Date received, the 9th of July, 2026. Date reported, July 28, 2026. Location of death, Horn Island, Mississippi. Toxicology findings, analyte. Specimen, result, units, reference range, method, ethanol. Femoral blood, 0.28%, with V, not detected. GCFID. Vitreous humor, 0.25%, with V, not detected. GCFID. Liver tissue, 0.34% with V, not detected GC-FID. Stomach contents, 0.19% with V, nanogram per milliliter, less than 0.1 nanograms per milliliter, less than 0.1 nanograms per milliliter, LC megasiemens per milliliter, LC megasiemens per megasiemens. Liver tissue, present NGGM, less than 0.1 nanograms GM, LC megasiemens per megasiemens. Stomach contents, present NGGM, less than 0.1 nanograms GM, LC megasiemens per megasiemens. Other screening, femoral blood, not detected. Key findings and analysis. 1. Severe alcohol impairment. Femoral blood BAC at 0.28% with V. This is 3.5 times the legal limit, 0.08%. At a 0.28% BAC, an individual typically experiences severe motor ataxia, confusion, loss of consciousness, and significant risk of respiratory depression. Distribution, liver tissue, 0.34%, and vitreous humor, 0.25%, show widespread, fully absorbed ethanol throughout the body. 2. Presence of fentanyl. Detection. Fentanyl was positively identified across all 4 specimen types: femoral blood, vitreous humor, liver tissue, and stomach contents. Significance. Fentanyl is a potent synthetic opioid. Combined with a high blood alcohol concentration, 0.28%, the central nervous system and respiratory depressive effects are compound and potentially fatal. Interpretation note. As stated in the report text, ethanol and fentanyl were both detected across all specimens. The combination of high BAC and potent synthetic opioids is a major factor frequently evaluated by the medical examiner when declaring the official cause and manner of death.
Wow. Fentanyl and alcohol across all specimens, all the tested specimens, there was a presence. And it looks like that could be how he actually passed away, not by drowning. We don't even know really how he got in contact with these substances. Did he voluntarily do this? Or, I mean, we don't know. We still don't know. But what we do know is that there was foul play when he was not getting the help that he needed on that rescue call for the tow. I think that we have all concluded that he was actually on that boat, laying on the floor of the boat. So, of course, if there's a video or if there are pictures and you don't see Nolan, it's because he's laying low on the boat. I don't know if that's the type of boat that has a cabin. I don't think it does. But there's also a picture going around where that boat, there's a leg hanging over. Now, I don't know if that's real. So, but just saying that, this is very, very, very upsetting. But if this is how he actually passed away, then at least there's an answer to that. Now, as far as what happened around that, before and after, we still don't know. And the only people that have answers are those young people, men and women, who were with him at the time that it happened. All of these people need to be accountable and held to account, held to answer questions. Everything the family is doing, they're doing their best to get those answers. Sending preservation of evidence letters. I mean, I don't know how good that'll do, how much good that will do. Because if they get rid of stuff, they get rid of stuff. How are you going to prove it, or how are you going to prosecute them for it? But it is a formal notice. And also knowing, that this was involved, there was that the blood on the back of the head that they found, the contusion, or either he had been hit or maybe he hit his head. But that also says something happened, because that initial examiner, that coroner or the medical examiner, did not note that bruising on their report, according to the chief medical examiner. But anyway, so listen, guys, I got this. Like I said, I came in on a conversation that was being had. A woman was on a live sharing this. She sounded extremely knowledgeable about what she was saying. And I didn't even think to pull out my phone and record her. I wish I did, but I did grab a screenshot of the document. And, I just wanted to share it, because if this is what it is, then this is what it is. But we still need answers as to why they didn't supposedly know this happened. if this is what happened? How did they not know? Are they going to say that this happened and he fell over the boat and they had no idea when they were supposedly, in shallow water? Yeah, based on the coordinates that were given to the seed tow, we found out those coordinates were actually on a sandbank. There was no way that he could have been sinking where he gave those coordinates, where they were located. So all that to say is that we still need answers. If this is an actual toxicology for Nolan Wells, then, then it is. I mean, I don't know, but I still think that there's other things that need to be made clear, which is the examination of the throat, the lungs. We still need to get a full autopsy, the secondary autopsy, and we need a secondary toxicology report. So I need to see, one of these young men's dad is chief of toxicology or something like that at some place down there. So all of that, yeah, we can't trust it. We can't trust anything, honestly. And that is really sad, but it's the truth. Justice for Nolan Wells. May he at some point be able to rest in peace. But right now is not the time, because we need, in the spirit, the ancestors, they're all at work right now, y'all. All right. That's all I got. Peace and love and peace. Until next time.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again.